Hi, welcome to class today. Today we will be working with knees. Lisa and I will take a deep dive into the knees. Thank you for joining me. She didn't have hyperextending elbows, and she doesn't really have hyperextending knees, but Gian will visit us today again so we can show kind of semi and drastic case, okay? So everyone's in a different body condition, and we all need to know the correct actions. Whether you hyperextend or not, there's still things that need to be active within the legs to support the knees. So the lower leg bone and the upper leg bone are connected by the knee socket, and if it's not working properly, or the muscles above and below aren't working, then all the weight goes into the knees, and that affects your hips, it affects your ankles, it affects the whole spinal column. Okay, so this is important, and just want to share this with you in case you have hyperextended knees, which means you lock your legs and the back of the knee goes way back, or if you don't, just what are the correct actions so that you can stand tall and walk in the world feeling strong and confident. Okay, let's get started. Before we get started, if you enjoy this video and find it helpful, please give it a like. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe and don't forget to click the bell so that you are notified when the new videos are uploaded. Now let's get started. All right, well, welcome back. We're going to dive into everything about our knees, especially when we hyperextend our knees. So Lisa is here with me again today. Lucky Lisa. Okay, I'm going to show you something that happens a lot. Something we think we're straightening our legs, and instead of straightening them, we just lock the kneecap and press the knee back. And anyone that's very flexible in the knees, they're going to tend to hyperextend. Now, Lisa is not a big hyperextender, but the thighs, we ask you to move the thighs back, and then you automatically move your knees back. And what happens here is that people that hyperextend, this knee comes way back, and then the bones are not lined up. So I'm going to ask her just to bend the knees a bit. So you can all do this. Press into the mounds of the big toe, inner heel and big toe mound. Keep those on the floor. Bend your knees. And I don't want you to straighten the legs all the way. I just want you to straighten the legs slowly, and don't go up all the way. And as you straighten the legs, stop before you hit the knee back. Okay, so do it again. So press the heel, press the mound of the big toe, and then slowly start to lift up. So here you're going to get more of the line of the shin and the thigh. All right? So that's the first thing. So you can practice that if you're hyperextending a lot. Another way, what happens a lot is the knee goes back, the shin goes back, and the thigh goes back. Well, there needs to be some resistance. So as the thigh goes back, the shin needs to move forward a little bit. So in hyperextenders, the knee is moving back. This is bulging and creating a lot of pressure. And so this shin bone moving forward as the thigh moves back. Okay, so another way you're going to be able to feel that is to come to the wall in Tadasana. All right, I'm going to bring the block, right behind and put it, squish finger. Okay, put it kind of the belly of the calf. So you're going to have to press into that block to keep it up. And then from there, lift up in your Tadasana, pressing the inner heel, the ball of the foot. And you can feel that the knee almost feels a little bit bent. So the block is preventing the calf from moving toward the wall. So if you're hyperextending, you're moving that knee toward the wall too much, and the back of the knee is bulging. So here you can feel that there's awareness in the calf. Can you feel that? So what do you feel? The kneecap feels more centered. Yeah, So the kneecap then can move into the knee socket without bulging toward the back, either the inner or outer knee. All right, so just to be aware of what happens mechanically, the thigh is moving back, the shin bone and the calf muscle need to be working. So you have muscles in the front of the leg, you have muscles on the outer calf, and you have muscles on the back of the calf. So these calf muscles need to be stabilizing yourself. When you're in Tadasana, so you're not all the way back on the heels, you're pressing forward as well, so you're on the balls of the toes and the front of the foot. And in order to do that, the calf must move forward, the thigh must move forward, the tailbone and the buttocks move forward while the front thighs move back. Okay, so now let's take that away. All right, so now step into the mat a little bit, and you're going to bring this strap right around the belly of the calf. Okay, so you have your feet hips width apart, so you can adjust that. Okay, so now you can feel the calf muscle, the one that needs to be working. And this side of the calf also needs to be drawn in. So if you've seen the film that we did on the elbows, we used the strap to press out, so the inner elbow didn't come in. So here you're pressing out so you can feel the outer calf muscle. So press out into that strap. Good. Now, Lisa's natural tendency is to drop here on her inner heels. So her ankle bones move down toward the floor. All right? So I'm going to ask her to press into the mounds, the big toe side of the inner side of the foot and the heel, and lift that ankle bone away. And as she lifts that ankle bone away, she can feel the calves pressing out into that strap. She can feel also the muscle activated through the outer calf, and the shin bone is held in place. It's not going back too far. Okay, so now I'm going to ask her to take this. So you play with that. You do this so that you feel what is being activated, which muscles are being activated, so that you can start to use that in your own practice. Now she's going to hold this and level it out so you can see the front edge and squeeze that. Like sometimes we hold the block between the legs so that we activate the outer thighs. All right, so now she's going to move out into the strap by lifting her inner ankles. And before you do that, just release down. Okay, so the kneecaps, many times we ask students to lift their kneecaps, and they know where their kneecaps are, but it's very difficult to lift them. So this is going to help you bring more awareness to the upper body, how the upper body has to be working in order to get that whole lift through the kneecap and the thigh, okay? So now, as she's got the strap on her leg, at the same time, she's going to lift this, suck this as if she's lifting it up, lifting it up. Lifting it up. And as she does that, she's got to keep the toes on the floor. And now bring your arms into Parvottanasana. Reach up. Okay. Now press out into that strap. Feel the activation of the legs. Calf moving forward, thighs moving back. Lift up. And as she's lifting up more, she's now has more access to the kneecap lifting and the front of the thigh lifting. So the whole front body is extending and lifting, which then helps her to find those kneecaps and lengthen the fronts of the thighs. Okay, so all those actions, lifting up, outer calves moving in, inner ankles lifting up, starting with the feet and lifting up, all those actions. Okay, can you feel that? Okay, so coming down now. Take this away, take the strap off, and bring that. Okay, before we go to the next pose, I want Gyan to come up. Gyan is our celebrity hyperextender. And he's kindly volunteered. Okay, he's going to just turn to the side, and he's going to start to go through that. He just go into, can you tuck this in, please? Okay, so he's going to stand how he normally would stand before I gave him a few lessons and brought some awareness. And now stand how you normally would, Gian. Yeah. So you can see how much his calves are moving back. Right. When his calves are moving back, and then he's getting this hyperextension behind the knee. He's getting some bulging here and here. All right. So another thing to note is where he is on his feet. Okay. So face forward. So toes pointing forward. Okay. Now, he has little arch here. He doesn't have much arch. So he sinks in this leg, so these muscles are not working. So now, I want you to press into the heel and the ball of the foot. Lift your inner heel. Good. Tailbone forward, thighs back. So his shin is a lot soft, his calf is a lot softer now. It's softer. So there's it's opposing action. The thighs are moving back, the calves are moving forward. How does that feel in your knee now?
Yeah, it's better.
It's much better, yeah. Okay, so now I'd like you to take the strap and bring that around your knees. Okay, so start with your feet hips width apart, and you move the strap right onto the belly of the calf. Bring your feet together. Did you have your feet separated? You did. Okay, let's have it separated a little because we're going to bring that. Okay, so when you've got the strap, press out into the strap and feel how when you lift your inner ankles, you can start to lift your arches. Pressing into the mounds, press the inner heel, lift that ankle bone up, press out to that strap. Okay, now you're going to take this between the legs. Can you get this between the legs? I must release. Okay, take that between the legs. Okay, and then let's tighten that strap. Right on the belly of the calf. Good. Now you can see Gan's knees. So it's important to know your knees and what your knees are doing. His knees, the natural tendency you can see here, it's turning. This whole knee is turning, and this knee is turning. So roll the block back, roll the inner thighs back, and as you roll the inner thighs back, what happens to the knees? The knees start to face forward more, except for this knee. This knee is got to have a little bit more work. So he has to bring the inner knee back more. Okay, so at least now it's not in the correct position, but it's at least he'll be able to get some access to it. Now stretch the arms up. Press down into the feet. Press out into that strap. Now lift that block between your legs, lift it up strongly, and lift up through the arms. Now roll the inner thighs back, tailbone in, buttocks in, and lift up more. Reach your arms up. How's our hyperextension doing? Now move that forward more. Move that forward. Lift the pelvis. Lift the pelvis. Yeah. Okay. So his tendency is to roll back too much, and then he brings all the weight into the calf. Right? So now he's got to resist that calf moving forward and lift the pelvis. Okay. And then bring your arms down. So it's important to know when you're pressing into that calf. Could you feel it with the strap? Could you feel pressing into the back of the calf? Yeah, so you want to come forward enough so that there's a little slack on that. So press back into it, press back into it. How does that feel compared to when you come forward a little bit? Bring your...
This is good for me, and this is the best.
Yeah, so you can feel there's not so much tension on the strap when you bring your calf forward. Okay, so that's how the strap can help you. So you can take that off, take that away. So he could really feel the effects of that calf muscle, which he can continue to practice with. Thank you, Gian. Okay. All right, so Lisa, now you're going to take this block, or this pad, foam pad, and bring it onto the the front edge of your mat, halfway, yeah. And then you're going to bring your right foot forward and have your heel on that. Okay, you can use your hand at the wall for balance. Parvottanasana, bring that left leg back. Okay, here I'm going to have her bend the knee a little bit. So when she bends the knee here, she's got to really find the mounds of the toes, the whole front of the foot, press the heel down. So she has that. So that's fixed. And from there, then she's going to start to straighten the leg. As she straightens the leg, this calf must move forward, move forward, move forward, move forward, move forward, move forward. So you can see her toes, the mounds are coming up, so that becomes difficult. So moving this forward, lifting up through here. And you can see that the outer calf muscle is getting activated. So the outer calf muscle, the back of the calf, the belly of the calf, all help to strengthen the knee and bring the knee into the socket and activate the quadriceps. Okay? So try the other side. What'd you feel with that?
Really, a lot of information.
In the calf, in the calf, yeah. So, you know, the calf muscle is kind of like the back of the arm muscle. It doesn't get that much attention. Especially if you're tending to hyperextend your knees, that action. Let me just show you the movement. So as you press the heel and the mounds of the foot, I'm going to just put a little tension this way and then straighten the leg. And so what happens to the knee when I do that?
It feels like a micro bend.
Yeah, so
it feels like there's no compactedness at all in there.
so there's lightness in it.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
So it's not...
Look at the leg is so much more aligned, right?
Yeah, now what happens to her is she comes up off the mound of the big toe, so she's got to keep that down, so I won't pull as much, and then straighten the leg. So that's really where the work is, keeping the foot down and straightening the leg in a little bit of micro movements until you can feel that kneecap moving into the socket without pressing into the back of the leg. So you have to resist with the shin bone forward to get that action. And then, of course, the quadricep lifting up. Okay, we're going to try one more pose. You can come out.
Feels nice.
Good. So you can try on your own and feel what those actions create in you. So she's going to go into Utthita Trikonasana now. This is another one that we see that hyperextension coming. And in one of the other videos, you saw that Lisa was hyperextending her elbows. Not much, but mostly her forearms were falling toward the ground. So a lot what happens is when you are hyperextending, this knee will go back and this shin bone will move toward the floor. Now you can see she's off the mounds, so she's not grounded, so she's got to keep that. All right, and as she keeps that, I'm going to build up a little resistance here for her calf and then straighten the leg. Is that high enough? Is it in the right position? Yeah. Okay. So here, keep the inner heel down, the mound of the big toe, and just observe how you tend to want to go to the outer edge of the foot. So you can even feel that in your ankle. Lift the outer ankle up. That's it. And then lifting up through the leg. Drawing that kneecap up, moving back. Good. So now I'm going to take it a little bit further. See what happens when you don't use it. How far is that shin bone coming down?
It's more pressure in that ankle.
Yeah, so she's got a lot of pressure in this outer ankle here because this is not working. So this is working, moving up. This is working, moving down and lifting up. Okay, so let's try the other side. Slowly. All right, one side may be different than the other. So for her, she's had some ankle injury. Now turn the toes toward me. Make sure your feet are aligned so the feet are moving forward. And she tends to go on this outer edge of the foot. So pressing there, lift the outer ankle up. Lift the outer ankle up. That's it. Good. All right, and now I'm going to take that. So bend the knee a bit. Bend the knee. That's it. And then, so that micro bend, and then starting to straighten it in increments. So just a little bit by little bit. So you're not forcing the knee back. You're not straightening the knee like military style. You have some awareness. You have some consciousness about straightening the legs, connecting the lower leg to the upper leg via the kneecap. So the kneecap has 4 different chips on the front of it. So you're lifting up through all 4 chips, through the back of the knee. Good. So here she's able to stay down with the ball of the foot and the heel. So just observe when you're coming to the baby toe side of the foot. Keep that outer heel, outer ankle lifted. Okay. And then come up. Good. All right. You willing to trade places with Guian? Okay, Guian, you come. So we'll have you do the block. Okay, you can come here.
Where should I?
You can go here.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to bring your right heel on the front of the block and the toes on the floor. Okay, now take your left leg back more, hands on your hips, and turn that back foot more. That's it. Okay, so start with a micro bend. Staple this toe down, staple the little toe side, staple that down. Don't let that lift. Keep pressing down. And then with that knee, start to micro straighten it. So not too quickly, but just keeping the calf moving forward as you straighten the leg. Lifting the kneecap, lifting up through the thigh. Good. Now come up again and take that back leg back further. Even further. Okay, and turn the foot more, turn the hip more. Yeah. Good. Keeping that down, keeping the heel down, and then start to straighten the leg, calf moving forward. Keep the weight on the front of the foot and the heel, straightening the leg. So resist the calf from moving back, move the calf forward as you move the kneecap into the socket. Okay, and then come up. How did that feel?
It's better now.
So less pressure on the back of your knee, more lightness in the kneecap, into the front of the knee.
There's definitely
Okay.
more lightness in it.
Yeah, it's more weight in here.
Yeah, more weight in the front of the foot. Okay, just come out, turn, come out carefully, and then do the other side so you feel balanced and even on both. So oftentimes in standing poses, we are coming off the foot and we're going to the side. So really nailing down the mound of the big toe and the inner heel and lift the inner ankle. Start with your hands on your hips. Okay, so micro bending that. Keep that back leg, back thigh straight, lifting up. Good. And then start to micro straighten that knee by pressing into the mounds. Keep the press, keep the toes down, keep the calf muscle moving forward as you draw that knee up, draw right up through the quadricep. This one's a little bit more difficult. Yeah, so it doesn't look like he's doing anything, but he's doing a lot, actually, because it's very easy for him to straighten the leg and to move the knee back and bring all the weight into the heel. But since I have the heel lifted, he can't bring all the weight into the heel. So he's got to maintain the weight here and then start to straighten it so that he doesn't hyperextend and just push the knee back. So where do you feel that?
It's harder than the right one.
Yeah? And where do you feel that?
Still in the front.
In the front. So especially if you've had any injury in the toes or the foot is not been used so much, you're going to feel a lot of length going on in those ligaments and all the muscles of the foot. So you can use the foot more to help stabilize you. And we know that everything starts in the foot. So if the feet aren't working, then of course it gets carried up to the knees and to the hips. So starting with the feet, so that's good. All right, now straighten the legs, straighten the legs, straighten the legs. Okay, so that's difficult for him. So that's good. He's working these muscles and he's working the muscles in the foot. Okay, come up. Now just stand in Tadasana. Good, so thighs back, tailbone forward. Keep the weight in the front of the foot. And now roll the arms back. Stretch the fingers down. Lift the chest up. Lift the back ribs. Good. So he's used to standing on his heels. He's used to leaning back like this, so the back ribs go in. So we're lifting the back ribs. He's still lifting the chest, but he's lifting from the center. When you lift from the sternum bone, the lower sternum bone, then you start to do a back bend. So standing in Tadasana, the neutral spine, like so. Okay, little bit by little bit, we learn each joint, each muscle, each ligament, and it all comes. We have another day to practice tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, thank you everyone. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us. I hope you learned something and can take some little tips that you can use in your practice to help develop your knee strength, your leg strength, and all the way from your feet up into your hips. So watch some of the other videos to look at the standing poses, which will also help you with what we covered today. Okay? See you in the next class. Namaste.
Namaste.